So today we are going to create a very simple transaction type, which we will be using on our bookkeeping interface. So let me go back to our bookkeeping interface and then select a column, let's say column C, and highlight that. Right click to insert. I'm going to create a column head called trans type, which is transaction type. After that, let me just Control C, Control V to this one. Just get rid of this one, save it, and then Control C, this one, and paste it here. And you will see not available because we haven't add the field, which is the column head transaction type, to the field list. We just go grab field list and then click it. Then we move down from the field name, type it's not mine, it's trans type. Alright, so for type name, it should be under my bookkeep. Alright, then you will see the field reference being generated automatically. So let me fill in the English description. It's going to be transaction type. Then I'm going to fill in the Chinese and Japanese description. Okay, you can just type it in your template, which is under the column Chinese and Japanese. Okay, I just paste special here. Alright, then after that, you go back to the select table, select my bookkeep, and click to go back to my bookkeeping interface. Then you will see this transaction type, right? And just as usual, I'm going to test Chinese, test Japanese description. Alright, and here I'm going to insert a drop-down list. But before that, I need to create the type table like this one. Okay, so let me go back to my file. Just go underneath the toolbar, click and add. And then the worksheet, I'm going to name it as my trans type. Alright, simply go to the field list, click it, and then I copy the things here. Alright, copy the column head, and then I go back to the trans type. So on row 7, and I just right click and paste value, because you'll be using this format, right? And for these two parts, I need to have the type code and the select text. Okay, so I rename this one, the leftmost one, which is also the index. I just rename it as trans type code. Alright, and the one is the trans type drop down text. This is going to be used as a selection for a transaction type. Alright, okay, let me see my currency list. Select everything. See here, select everything, Control C, and then I go back to my transaction type, put it here, Control V. Then you will see these two showing NA, right? So I just copy these two, Control C, and then I go back to the field list. Okay, go back to the field list, just press somewhere here, paste special, and then I click values and transpose like this. Okay, then I'm going to insert a row here, so I better insert one more. Alright, copy these two, Control C, and then go down to the field list, paste the value. Oh, actually the table name is going to be the tab list, but we don't have the tab list here, right? We don't have the tab list here for selection. What we can do is go back to the tab list and then select the table list. Okay, then here for the tab name, under the tab name, I'm going to type my trans type. Okay, because that's the tab that we just create, my trans type. Alright, then I simply copy one cell from above, paste it. Then I'm going to have this, but we don't have a display for the list, so we go back to the field list. Okay, we better go this way. So we go back to the field list and click it. So I simply select tab list. I will be generating the reference for this one. Okay, then we need to fill in the description for the field, the transaction code. You can type it, but for me, what I'm going to do is just copy and paste the stuff here. Just copy these two. And I go back to match the fill, okay? And then I right click, just paste the value, okay? So this one is fine. Save it. Now we need to create something for the drop-down list setup. So let me go back to our bookkeeping template. Go back to the table list. Oops. Too bad. You know what? Because I have to do this again. Excuse me. Just copy that. Because I open another file. So if I do this again, then I can use the list again. Alright. So we have to deal with the tab display name, which is this one. The drop-down list setup. This is the text that we need to show. So let me see. These are the English, Chinese, and Japanese description. So I'm going to look up for a table name, which is my trans type. And I go back to the fill list. And then I type the name of the tab, which is my trans type. So it's going to be, oh sorry, I select the wrong table for this one. This one is for my transaction type because I can select the type again. Sorry about that. Then I'm going to select for the transaction type, which is managed in the table list, which is the tab list. And then I can fill in the description here. Alright, so let me copy this here. And everything is done. Then we go back from the fill list to our drop-down list setup, right? See, because we've just got that, but we don't have a color for this one yet, so it doesn't matter. Okay, we can always fill that up later. Then we have all these, right? Let me fill that with our description first. So description will be underneath here. Just look up for the English one, so it's easier to read. So just paste it. You have to type it manually by yourself, but here just type it. And then let me select this one. You only need these parts. Okay, so we have that. Control F3. And then let me look up for a table. Whatever table is table 6, just go to edit, and then I just called it my trans type. So this is the selection of transaction type, which, okay, and close it, save it. We put in a code here. We just restrict that to 3 types of transactions. P for purchase, R for receipt, and B for interbank transfer. Alright, just call it P, R, and B. Okay, and for the transaction type, because this is going to be used in the selection text and it can be changed according to the language that you select. So it's just going to be equal to index, the whole my transaction type table, comma, Alt Enter, and then the row match is going to be matching individual transaction type code, which is P, R, and B when you scroll down, matching with the whole column of the transaction type code, so that if we look up for P from this column, comma, and it's going to be 0 exact match, then we close the row match, and then comma, Alt Enter, and then we do the column match. The column match is going to be, actually we go back to the My Bookkeep, and then we look up for the language choice number, comma, matching with, we go back to the transaction type, we are matching the whole column head, which is here, comma, and then 0. Alright, that should be. I think something goes wrong here. I think I just need to change this one. Then it should be good to go. Close the bracket. Yeah, you see? The whole column head. Then we have these, right? Because we are selecting the English. That's why when we change the language to Chinese, then we have the drop-down selection change to Chinese. So but here I'm going to change it back to English. Alright, save it. Then I'm going to create a drop-down list. Control F3. Open up the new manager. Click new. And then this is the trans drop-down list. Okay, and it's going to be referring to the whole column of the transaction type drop-down list. Okay. Then we close that, and then we can go back to the My Bookkeep. And then let me go under the transaction type. I simply press alternate DL to open up the data validation. And then when I press allow, I'm going to allow a list. And the source, you just left click that and then you press F3. Then you can select transaction type list. This is the trans drop down list that we just create, right? Okay. Copy the cell and then go down arrow, Ctrl V, paste. Now select the transaction. Oh, I just missed one thing. You have to include the code on the left because it's more convenient for later processing. So let me go back to my transaction type. For the cell under transaction drop-down text, I'm going to include this column and just add a space or dash, maybe better for a dash, and then an N sign. Then we have this so that I can slice the leftmost transaction type code later on. Then when I go back to my Bookkeep, underneath the transaction type, I can select like purchase, expense, whatever. And when I change the language to Japanese, I can select the expense in Japanese. All right. Let me go back to English. But this is one of the limitations in Excel. Even you change your language back to English, your selection stays there. In case if you want to make everything in English, then you have to select back the English choice afterwards. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We can move on to the general ledger account in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.